excited and happy to welcome everybody here for Tuesday Night Talks. This is week 10. Really can't believe that we've been doing it for this long. It's amazing. My name is Matt Elkin. I'm here with Scott Martin. We're here from West Coast Elite Basketball and Attitude of Gratitude Consulting. We really appreciate everybody that's taken their time this Tuesday evening to join us. We have three amazing head coaches speaking with us tonight. Really excited to have each of them. But before we kick things off, I just wanted to really quick share my screen with everybody. So hopefully, let's see if everybody can see that. So we are very hopeful and optimistic that we'll be able to get our summer and fall high academic camp schedule up and running. So I've shared the screen here. We have two camps that are coming up in August next month that we're really excited about. One's going to be in Phoenix, one's going to be in Chicago, and then moving forward into September, we have a couple events. But these events are obviously great. Some of the coaches on the call tonight and from previous weeks have attended all of our high academic camps in the past, and we look forward to having them moving forward in the future. But wanted to just share that schedule. If anybody has more questions, definitely reach out to myself or Scotty, or check us out online on West Coast Elite Basketball or All Academic Basketball. But that's going to be our schedule moving forward for camps, and any of the players that are on this call, highly recommend it. It's going to be awesome. Great recruiting opportunities, great exposure. We'll have tons of media there. So it's going to be really great. So we're excited for that. But what I'm really excited for is for our first speaker tonight. And our first speaker tonight comes to us from the great state of New York. He's staying up very late on a Tuesday night for us, so we appreciate that. But would love to welcome Coach Stefan Thompson from Hobart. Welcome, Coach.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be able to join you tonight, and I'm pumped for this conversation.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you. If anybody has a question, sorry, go ahead. What were you saying?
I just wanted to say thank you guys for having me. I think this is a great opportunity with Attitude of Gratitude and West Coast Elite. What you guys are doing in week 10, that's pretty impressive. So I'm thankful to be here.
Yeah, I got a couple more gray hairs since the first week that we started, but it happens. If anybody has questions for Coach Thompson or throughout the evening, feel free to throw those down below in the chat box. Okay. Also, if you guys ever want to follow up with him, we've also included his email address in there too. So shoot him an email after the talk if you want to say thanks or ask any follow-ups. But without further ado, first things first, give us a little bit of background, Coach. Tell us a little bit about kind of what brought you to kind of where you're at right now in your coaching journey, and kind of what brought you to Hobart.
And you mentioned I'm coming from the East Coast, the great state of New York. That's my home state. I actually was born and raised in Syracuse, New York, and I went to a high school called Christian Brothers Academy. I played for a very good high school coach by the name of Buddy Waklinski, and he taught me many things outside of basketball, but made me a better player. Coming out of high school, I didn't get too much high recruitment in terms of the scholarship level. So Division III was where most of my focus was, and Hobart was within an hour and a half radius of my house. So when I visited campus and, I met the coaching staff at the time and had a chance of meeting the team, and I saw how it meshed well with what I was looking for academically, Hobart's the place I decided to attend. Spent a great 4 years here. I loved it. Besides basketball, I have tremendous memories here with some classmates and professors even, because it's a very tight-knit campus. But after my 4 years, I had a quick stint over in Italy playing professionally. I was outside of Milan and small places like Bergamo and Trento, trying to continue that professional dream of playing, which can be a challenge coming from the Division III level, but many people are able to do so. But unfortunately, I got an injury, and it was kind of a blessing in disguise. I had a stress fracture in my foot, and I was at that crossroad. Do I want to commit 5 years of trying to climb the ladder of being a pro, or sacrifice my playing career and get right into coaching? And I decided to get into coaching at an early age, and I was fortunate to get my first stint in the college game, basically a year and a half out of college at Wilkes University, where I worked for one of my mentors, Izzy Metz, who's, he's coached in the ACC, coached at Cornell. Very good guy in terms of his mentorship to me. So I worked with him for 3 years while attaining a master's degree. And then I went back to Hobart as an assistant for 2 years under Tim Sweeney, and he moved on, and I got promoted to head coach and just finished year one. So that kind of gets us up here to present day.
That's awesome. And pretty spectacular year one that you had. Won a ton of games, made it to the NCAA tournament. Talk a little bit about what it means to you to kind of come back to the alma mater and place where you had a lot of success as a player to now have come back and have some success in the head coaching role.
There's a lot of joy here, just from the relationship standpoint of being able to see coaches who are still head coaches at Hobart and William Smith. When I was a student here, I'd pop in their office and ask them questions, and now to get their coaching perspective and their advices, it really comes full circle. But then to branch out of athletics and see familiar faces in the community or in the dining hall, those relationships never go away, especially at a small, intimate community in Geneva, New York, where Hobart and William Smith resides. It makes the experience that much more special. But the cool part of being a coach now is I get to see where our players are. And I once was wearing their shoes. So I know the rigors that come with that academically and basketball wise. So as a coach, I'm willing to walk the path with them. And this first year, as you mentioned, we hit the ground running and had some great success. But we had a locker room filled with high character guys, and they knew that winning was what we wanted to do, but they trusted the formula and the process to get there. And that was really fun to see those guys make the most of year one for me here back at the alma mater.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I mean, you've in your career as a player, I mean, you had some great success. I mean, you're the first NABC All-American in program history. And then you, as you mentioned, going to play overseas, but then coming back, being an assistant, you guys were named the coaching staff of the year in the Liberty League, right? And then this past season, you got a pretty prestigious honor with the NABC Under Armour 30 under 30. So, obviously you've been having a lot of success in a short period of time, and we expect and fully hope that continues going. So, tell us a little bit about just the university and tell us about the school and, obviously what attracted you there as a student, but now, what do you like to talk about with players and with parents and stuff as you're talking about from an academic perspective about Hobart?
So for me personally, why I decided to pick Hobart was the campus size. We have just over 2,000 students here, and I came from a smaller high school environment where the class size, teacher to faculty, or teacher to student ratio was relatively small. So I knew that was the best learning environment for me, and Hobart offered that. And I really loved how accessible the professors were. I think the fact that you see our professors in the dining hall, you see them at the local pizzeria downtown. And I always like to tell the story. I was a sophomore taking a business management course in sociology, and I was really rattled just with the paper I was trying to get, which most kids struggle with in college at some point. But I go up to my professor and I said, "Hey, Professor Harris, I'm just not getting this concept. Can I stop by your office hours and talk this through?" And he goes, "Steph, what are you doing on Sunday?" And in the back of my mind, I'm like, probably, watching some football, enjoying some chicken wings, things of that nature. So he said, "Hey, if you don't have anything planned, I'd love to have you come over to the house, and we can talk everything through." So he lived, 15 minutes from campus, not even. And I went there. His wife welcomed me in. But like those type of experiences are why I chose Hobart, because I knew I was going to be able to, grow in that type of environment. And those are the things I talk to with families with right now. And we always say Hobart's not the best place for everybody. So we try to make sure we find the right fit family-wise and personality-wise so they can thrive here, and they can look to exceed here. The one thing I want to do was just kind of share my screen really quickly. I have some quick facts just so I can show you guys a couple of things about Hobart, because verbally I think I can tell you, but if I can show you some things, I think it'd be great.
Definitely.
So right now it says I can't share, but
oh, my fault. Yeah, I got you. Hold on. You try it now. You should be good.
Gotcha. All right, can you guys see that all right?
Yeah, looks great.
Perfect. So yeah, Geneva, New York, not many people know about it, but we're right in between Syracuse and Rochester, very tight-knit, small community. And Hobart College is also Hobart and William Smith College, and it's kind of confusing at times. People ask, is it two separate colleges? And we actually operate on the coordinate system. So the only things that are different between Hobart and William Smith are the dean's offices, the athletic department, student government, and your diploma. But everything else is shared: dorms, dining hall, classrooms. So it feels like one school, which is really cool. But you're able to keep the tradition of each place. Each school has their different colors. And then with the small campus community here, you're really going to get to know your classmates. We always talk about face-to-face interactions, which might be changing here with the virus, but that's something that we emphasize and excel at. And then I take a step back and even say outside of Hobart, the Finger Lakes region. If people haven't heard of that, I would suggest looking it up. In New York State, we have 11 of the Finger Lakes, and they're gorgeous. Great place for a college kid to travel, get outdoors. Our campus actually sits on the north end of Seneca Lake, so it's a picturesque place for us. And we have a global aspect here at Hobart. We're the #3 study abroad school in the country. You may think, how the heck does this small 2,200 school in New York State have one of the best study abroad programs? And we really try to make sure our students get the global experience. So whenever they're done with Hobart, they're impacting their community. And the next thing we excel at, I think, is the career service piece. We work really hands-on with our students to get the elite internships, the job placements. But the reason we're #3 is it's a lifelong endeavor here at Hobart with our career service department. So you could be, 20 years into sales, make some great money off it, retire, get tired of retiring for 5 years and want to jump back into it and be in your mid-50s, and Hobart will still help you out. So when we say career service, it's a 40-year, it's a lifelong decision. And, those are the things that we communicate with families that we're recruiting, because I think they make us unique here at Hobart. And as a alum, I love talking about this place because I think it has a lot to offer. One thing I wanted to make sure you guys had a chance to see, and there's a couple of pictures here. As I mentioned, you can see the lake there. We have a beautiful quad in the middle of our campus. But something I think that we really are appreciative of is our athletic facilities. For a Division III institute, I think we're top notch. You can see in one of the pictures here, we have this huge dome on our campus. So literally our football team, lacrosse team, soccer teams, they can have an indoor facility, which is tremendously valuable in upstate New York, because we get pounded with snow, which is the reality. We can't run from that. But it's a great resource. And for us as a basketball program, we'll go in there, we'll do conditioning, we'll play wiffle ball, kickball, just to have some fun. But it's a campus that I think, you can make the most of your opportunities, academically, socially, and athletically, just because of all the things that you're offered here.
Awesome.
One thing I wanted to also share with you guys, just so you can take a quick look at it, and you mentioned it, Matt. This past year was a great run. And making it to the Sweet 16 was a lot of fun. We have like a little short video I wanted to share with everyone that just kind of shows that experience of what it's like to be in a winning locker room and things of that nature. Yeah, I wanted to make sure you guys saw that, because I think those are some of the best moments right there as a college athlete. You have so much sacrifice, so much dedication you put into it, but those moments in the locker room post-game when you win a big game, which we were fortunate enough to do a couple times this past season, those are the things you remember. And you can see the pure joy on those guys' faces. They were smiling. That's what it's about when you say you want to be a college athlete. And I think anytime you can be a part of a program that's going to offer you that experience, it's only going to heighten everything you get to get off of that and be able to build with that. As this slide right here, though, I wanted to show you, just kind of recaps our year. And we were able to finish #1 in the country in 3 statistical categories. I wasn't much of a defensive player in college. I was more of an offensive guy, so a lot of my My teammates bust my chops a little bit as to how you got these guys to play defense this year, but we had a great group who bought into it. And what I'm most proud of was not only did we force teams to miss shots, we also got the ball on the rebounding end. And that rebounding margin, I think, is a big staple of us and want to keep moving forward with it. As a result, at the end of this year, we're able to finish number 20th in the country and make our first NCAA Sweet 16 appearance. So as an alum, I'm pumped to be able to lead the program and build off of this foundation, because I think this is something we can do moving forward. And that's what this is really about, is sharing this insight about Hobart, but also being educating to the people that are listening today to say, hey, if you're looking for a college experience, I think often the Division I, Division IIs are sought after, which is understandable, but you still can get an elite experience at a Division III school. And I always tell people, I think Division III is the epitome of the student athlete. You're going to get both ends of it, and you don't have to sacrifice in either end. But I think it was essential for me to show you this here because, I'm ultimately proud of what we were able to do this past season.
Yeah, and I have to say, too, you guys have one of the cleanest team photos that I've seen in a while, too. Like, not just sitting on a chair, everybody hands like this. Like, you guys look like you like to have fun, you like to compete, and that's really cool to see. I know that's not a big deal, but yeah, that slide was awesome, and gives, I think, everybody on the call a little bit of a taste of kind of what you guys have done this past year from a basketball standpoint. So that was awesome. I'm going to toss it over to Scott, and he'll have a couple more directed questions for you, Steph.
Coach, appreciate you coming on. Obviously, you had a big year this year. What is your offensive and defensive style of play, and what skills do you really value in the program?
So offensively, I always believe you coach to your players' skill sets and their talents. So this past year, we had some depth at the forward and center position, so we played a little more high-low basketball. Our starting our power forward, who was a rising junior, was number 8th in the country for a field goal percentage. And I think that's unique because in today's game, it's more perimeter-oriented and ball screen, but we were more post-oriented this past season. And moving forward, I'm going to coach offense to whatever our guys need to be able to do and to succeed on the court. Defensively, we have certain boundaries on the court where we don't want to let the ball get to, and we really work on the habits to build up how to stop the ball from getting there. But then I think the next level is you can't play a perfect game defensively. Sometimes the ball does penetrate, or hey, we may break down a ball screen coverage. So we always work on how can we rotate or capitalize on a mistake for ourselves to try to secure the possession. And it takes multiple efforts on the defensive end to get it done. And in terms of the skill set piece, Scott, I think in today's game you always talk about pass, dribble, and shooting, but I look for instincts. I think those are things you can't teach, and everyone's instincts are a little bit different. Some guys have more offensive instincts, some guys have more defensive instincts, and I think that's a unique part of a coach, is evaluating that and trying to comb through all of those things to figure out what that elite skill that guy can bring to the table. So as a young coach, I always try to emphasize, do what you do best. And I want to make sure I'm putting you in position to do that because, outside of basketball, like if a guy's into finance or if he's into marketing, whatever his niche is, he should be excelling in that. So as a basketball coach, I try to take on that same philosophy and say, what do you do well? And let me highlight that as a coach.
Now, on the academic side too, Hobart's a top 100 liberal arts college. What are the main majors for your players? What is the school known for academically?
So I would say the most popular major on campus is economics. With the liberal arts background, a lot of people are business minded and they want to pursue that field. So economics gives you that core curriculum there, but they usually pair it with entrepreneurship studies, which is the most popular minor on our campus. So if you can think about it, you get the econ experience, you get the core principles, but the entrepreneurship piece is huge if you want to, get a part of a startup, which is really huge in today's era. Besides the business piece, pre-med is really huge at our place. I would also say architectural studies and computer science. So the kids that have more of the engineering brain usually pair with those two majors there. But because of the liberal arts experience, you're literally going to tap into every avenue of academia. So when you graduate here, you're well-rounded.
What'd you study? I'm curious.
I majored in sociology and anthropology.
Okay.
So,
I majored in finance. So here, always back to basketball.
Exactly.
What test scores, what GPA do you look for in transcripts? Being a top liberal arts college, what's it take to get in?
So GPA wise, we look for that three and up usually. We actually are test optional. So kids have the ability to not submit their scores if they think that's the best case for them. And I think that's great because it diversifies your pool of candidates you may be able to get into your institution. And not all kids are able to excel at long tests. The SAT is a long exam, and some people just don't do great on that. So, but I would say the GPA piece is essential, making sure those core classes are there to see if they're challenged academically. And then, we're able and we're beneficial that our admission staff is able to do this. We look at the kid holistically as well. What's your story? What's your background? What are the other things you're bringing to the table besides, doing well on an exam or you're doing well on your GPA?
Well, what advice do you have for the 2021s on this call who, are thinking about looking into Hobart, just the whole recruiting environment? What advice do you have for them?
I would say number one, be flexible because with the virus here, traditional schedules have been flipped upside down on their head. So you got to be flexible. And I think also remain authentic. I think that's really essential in this time period because you guys know, but you work with athletes every day. The families and the athletes have been very, very good at making themselves recruitable. They know the right things to say. They know the right places to go. But I think it's essential to be authentic throughout that process because as a head coach, I want to know who I'm getting to my campus. I don't want you to be one way in the recruiting process. I love you. It's a great relationship. Then you get to campus and it's a completely different script. And I don't think that's great for the person either because then you got to manage trying to be two different people, and that's not how it should be. So I would advise families in the 21 class to be flexible and make sure you're being authentic and ask questions. Each institution is kind of handling this virus a different way. So make sure you're informed so you can make the best decision for you.
I know your league, we talked about this for a second earlier, made a decision today. Can you explain that to the players in the call and how that affects the basketball program going forward?
So we compete in the Liberty League Conference, and all of our teams are actually in New York State. But the conference made a decision today to move forward with all fall sports, which I know the students on our campus are really excited about. Now, there's going to be a lot of precautions in place and protocols that we must follow. But the fact that the students can get back out there and compete, I think they're really excited about. I think having to take a gap year or having a season suspended for a semester really just jumbles a lot of these kids' experiences and their timelines. As I mentioned, internships and study abroad is essential here at Hobart. So being able to stick to that script, I think, is great. And I'm glad our conference has come out to say that they want to support that because I think it'll make everything better for the student athletes.
In your video, the crowd seems really loud. How is the student support for athletes, and how is the student athlete experience since you were an athlete at one point also?
I think it's like I always describe it as an iron sharpening iron kind of experience. You're going to be bumping shoulders with Division I lacrosse players on our campus, or elite football players, great rowers. But then you look at the William Smith side of it. William Smith Soccer's won national championships here. I remember making it to the NCAA tournament as a basketball player here at Hobart, winning a game, and I'm feeling like big man on campus. And the soccer team was like, yeah, so what? We went to a Final Four. So it's one of those places where the other athletes on our campus are going to try to one up you, but they're also going to be supportive. You'll be sitting in class and William Smith hockey player will say, hey, good luck tonight. We're going to show up to your game. And we have a unique setup here where the bleachers are on one side. So the sound ricochets and echoes off the wall. We get great community standpoint and support. So I think it's a unique facility to play in, but it makes it really, really special to be a student athlete here at Hobart.
How big is the school?
Around 2,200 students.
That's a nice little community.
Mm-hmm.
How can a player in this environment get on your radar? How can they best contact you and get on your recruiting board?
I would say reach out and be consistent. And I know as coaches, you want to set eyes on guys so you can evaluate and give a truthful take on their game. The circumstances now don't allow that. So if you can send as much video content, if you can Zoom yourself working out and show your work ethic, I think that's really, really helpful. I also believe as a recruit, it's also essential to feel out coaches, to see who's responding, see who wants you and has that mutual interest. Because the last thing you want to do as a recruit is invest, 90% of your time into an institution. Then when it gets crunch time for you to make a decision, they say, hey, man, we're not really interested. It really can jade your college experience. So I would just advise kids to make sure you're making yourself accessible and you're getting your name out there to the best of your ability with emails, YouTube videos, anyone that can speak on your behalf can be helpful.
Last question. What was your number one favorite experience as a Hobart athlete?
As a Hobart athlete, I would probably say alumni weekend for us here at Hobart. Being able to see guys that have already put on the uniform come back, number one, just have the pride of wanting to show back up to their campus. But number two, showing me what my life could look like 10, 15, 20, 30 years out, because they're going on and do great things. But the beauty of it, though, is as they're further out, they're giving more back to Hobart. So that really, it makes me realize those moments of alumni weekend are the guys that I really enjoyed being around and the moments I cherish.
That's awesome.
Steph, can you talk a little bit about, you mentioned internship, study abroad. I mean, you yourself had an opportunity to get to play overseas, which is pretty special. Talk about, like, from your time as an assistant or now head coach, what are some of the careers or some of the avenues that some players have gone down? I know a lot of parents and players, maybe not players, but parents for sure, looking big picture. So that degree from Hobart, those experiences, studying abroad or internships, how does that set players up for success down the road?
Well, we like to throw you in the fire here at Hobart. Our philosophy is we want you by your sophomore, junior year to know what you do not want to do. Let's cross that off the list. So that first job can be something you say, I want to do. Most people get a job 2-3 years out of college and they say, I'm looking for something else. We don't want to do that here at Hobart. So we try to get you to fail early, throw you in the fire. But in terms of the spectrum, it's wide here, what you can offer in terms of your career. We got guys like Whit Lejeune, who's up at Bridgeton Academy in Maine, who's a basketball coach, or Jay Tilton, who's at Phillips Exeter, basketball coach. We have guys that go work on Wall Street. One of our point guards right now, Dan Messino, is a rising senior, is interning at Bloomberg, doing an awesome job in their analyst department. I have a former teammate who's actually from Phoenix, Arizona. He went to Seton Catholic Prep. He's a CEO and a co-founder of a company based in Los Angeles. It's a furnish company. So there's a wide spectrum of it. I think the big portion of the Hobart connection is our alums are willing to reach back. So their alums are calling our current students, following up with emails. So it actually makes our students, their job easier. The fact that alums are wanting to talk to them, which I think makes our internships really highly touted here at Hobart because the kids want to go on and do some good things.
Can you talk a little bit, obviously having played there, been in the shoes of some of your student athletes, then having been an assistant and now a head coach, but also being kind of on the younger side, what is your coaching style like? How do you bring energy, but also how do you then keep that line defined between, I'm a younger guy, but I'm also your head coach. So have you struggled with that at all, or kind of how does that, infuse itself into the way you coach your players?
I have to be myself. That's the one thing. I know I'm only 29, so if I walked into practice and tried to be the elder statesman who was older and just a little more gruff, I knew our guys wouldn't believe in it. Like you mentioned, I transitioned from an assistant who usually has a little more of a friendly relationship with the players to the head coach. So I did have to put my foot down a couple more instances in terms of holding ourselves to discipline and habits. And I think our guys actually appreciated that. But I'm also willing to, pump our guys up. I try to really, really strategic about my pregame speeches to get them in the right mentality. But I also tell our guys, man, I want to laugh with you. I want to cry with you. I want to think with you. I want to walk the path with you because I know the 4 years at Hobart's going to fly by. So I want to make sure in the memory bank, you got a lot of positive memories with me. And I always try to find something positive for our guys to build off of. I think there's a lot of mistakes that happen during your 4 years, whether they're on the court, socially, academically. I try to hold you accountable and say, we'll get through it, but we're also going to try to find a positive springboard so you can learn from these experiences. And I think as a head coach, that's my main role, is to make sure our guys are growing. And I have to hold myself to that standard to grow too, because as a young coach, if I'm coaching the same way when I'm 40 as I was in 29, I'm not growing much. So I got to be the one that's leading the program and evolving so our guys can follow in that path.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And, you had a lot of success this past year. Looking forward, hopefully everything kind of runs as we're hoping with the basketball season and all that stuff. What are you looking forward towards in the future of Hobart?
Continuing to build off our program pillars. If I can share with you one more thing,
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
just something that we really held our program to this past year and how we built everything. People have values, but we call them pillars. We go with pride, unity, multiple efforts, bigger than basketball, and respect. And I thought this is the reason we had success. Everything came back to this as our program. And I know in year two, sometimes as a coach, you can say, oh, the guys already know it. But no, every year you have some new guys coming into your program. So I want to be able to sustain this success by continuing to build off these pillars here. And the pride aspect, I can run through them just really quick, but the pride piece is, your name is who you are and representing that everywhere you go, everywhere you are on campus. But we also talk to our guys about mitigating your pride sometimes. Being a part of a college team, sometimes you got to let that go. And that's where the unity piece comes in. You're only as strong as the people you have around you, and you got to be able to uplift each other. We don't have captains in our program, which is a little unique. Because we define leadership as influence. You're either influencing somebody up or you're influencing somebody down. But if you got a whole locker room that's united, I think everyone's going to be great leaders. And then we also talk about stringing together multiple efforts. No matter what you do in life, you're going to have to be able to string together multiple efforts. We tell our guys, you got to go lift, you got to go to practice, you got to study. When you're a grown up, you got to get the kids ready for school, go to the work, maybe go to little Timmy's, basketball game after school, but let's continue with multiple efforts. And then we also try to keep the perspective that it's bigger than basketball. We come together to Hobart to obviously excel as student athletes, but if our relationship stops and leaves on the court, we won't enjoy our experiences. So our guys are living together in the summer, traveling, doing vacations, and I think that's something I'm proud of. But the mutual respect piece, I think, is essential, especially in today's climate of the world where everyone's coming from different backgrounds, different perspectives. You got to be able to find common ground with respect. And we really hold our guys accountable to that, whether it's the, person in the hotel, our bus driver, the lady in the dining hall. Everyone should be getting the best version of yourself, so you should be showing them respect. So I want to give you a long-winded answer of saying we want to be able to sustain this by building off our program pillars.
Oh, that's awesome. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. Hey, I know this time flies by really quick. I feel like we could keep going on, all night long, but in the interest of time here, just wanted to say, is there anything else that we didn't get a chance to touch on or something that you wanted to just really briefly with the last minute here talk about before we sign off for the evening?
I just want to say for the families, recruits, and other coaches on here, I think it's exciting to see, West Coast Elite and people like you guys being able to give kids platforms to, number one, be educated, because there's a lot of people in people's ears, but I think you guys do it the right way. And during the circumstances with the virus here, it's jumbling everything. So this is a great resource, a great avenue. So I want to thank you guys for, number one, giving me the platform, but also being a great educational resource for many people throughout the country.
Yeah, no doubt. No, we love having you on. I thought you did an awesome job, and we hope that we get to see you at some of our camps coming up soon. We got to add a little more West Coast flair to that roster. We'll do the best job that we can, and really appreciate you spending some time with us, staying up late on the East Coast for us. Again, if anybody has more follow-up questions, definitely please feel free to reach out to Coach. His email is in the chat, and I'm sure you can also find it on the website. But we really appreciate you taking some time to chat with us tonight, and hope you're staying safe and hopefully get a chance to see you out on the road or on the court again soon.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You guys stay safe, and stay safe to all the families and everyone watching tonight as well. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steph. Appreciate you, man. Have a good night. See ya.
West Coast Elite Camp Hall of Famer.
Hey, there you go. Means I'm older.
We are really excited to announce, or I should say introduce our second speaker of the evening, Coach Dan Priest from Kenyon College. Coach, first things first, appreciate you being here with us tonight.
Yep, thanks. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, we're really excited. Like Scotty alluded to, you've been at pretty much every camp that I've ever been at. Any of our camps, we see you everywhere on the road. So you're definitely a staple in the high academic market. So please, for some of the families and players that are on the call, give us a little bit of background. Tell us a little bit about kind of your experience in coaching and kind of your time so far at Kenyon.
Yeah, sure. So my journey started, I played at Ohio Northern University, Division III. So I've kind of been a Division III lifer. I was a Division I GA and assistant for a couple of years. And then I worked at Hanover College, Division III, so kind of continued my whole Division III journey. So my first head coaching job was at Ohio Dominican University, which was NAI. It's Division II now. So that was a great experience for me. Went to the national tournament and just got a lot of NAI. You get a lot of coach, a lot of games. So then I was head coach at Henry's College, Division III, in Conway, Arkansas. Great school, great place. And then I'm an Ohio native. My wife's an Ohio native. And Kenyon just had so much to offer. So I came back. I've been start my 10th. I'll start my 11th year actually. So it'll be 21, I guess maybe 22 years as a head coach. So I came back to Kenyon 11 years ago. So it's just a pretty phenomenal place and has a real national name and recognition. So that's what brought me here.
Yeah, definitely. And tell us a little bit about the school itself. Tell us about kind of the academics, and kind of what got you so excited to come originally, and also, you know, what's keeping you around and enjoying your experience so far at Kenyon.
Yeah, sure. So Kenyon's a unique place. We're, I know, somewhere between 16 and 1,700 students. We're all residential. No one lives off campus. We have, you know, apartments or off-campus housing, but it's all owned by the college. So that part is a little bit unique. We're in a town of Gambier, so we're about an hour from Columbus. So I think kind of what our guys like, we kind of call this Kenyon bubble, where everything happens on Kenyon's campus. We're not in a city, but the city is close enough. But it's not so close that's where people go to have social time, or so anything that goes on campus, student activity, athletic event, whatever. There's 16 to 1800, 18 to 20-year-olds that are on campus and doing their thing. So we have a pretty vibrant on-campus atmosphere there. We're we'll throw a bunch of national rankings at you, but we're always anywhere from 23 to 24, 25, something like that, ranked nationally, private liberal arts school. So we're in that realm of elite schools. So that's kind of where we are, kind of about our guys' major and everything. We get a bunch of econ guys. We get guys do a ton of different things, end up doing a ton of different things when they graduate.
Awesome. And then now let's transition off of the academic into the basketball piece. So tell us a little bit about the program, kind of where you've been, where you're going, kind of how you guys like to play, stuff like that.
Yeah. So we're, our league is awesome. I don't know where we're ranked nationally. I don't know, 5, 6, 7, something like that. But we have multiple teams in the national tournament every year. So it's a highly competitive league, which is good. We're trying to play just style-wise a little bit different. We've kind of changed and morphed over the years, but we're trying to play a little quicker now. We're trying to force a little bit more pressure now. We're trying to play up and down a little bit more and shoot a few more threes, but just kind of be different and unique because of how competitive our league is. We get guys from all over the place. You take a screenshot of one of our Zoom calls we did the other day. We have guys from 10 different states, 3 different countries, 4 or 5 different time zones. So, and they all physically look different. They all socially think a little bit different. So we kind of have a really unique blend of demographics of guys. But that's kind of how our style of play is. We try and give guys enough freedom to make plays and enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about it, just looking through your roster. I mean, you got Connecticut, California, North Carolina, South Carolina, Massachusetts, Oregon, Maryland, Texas, Kazakhstan, Lithuania. I mean, I don't know how many. If you had 50 players on your roster, you might have one from each state. I mean, that's pretty incredible. What is it about Kenyon, whether it's the basketball, the academics, social, whatever? What is it about the school that attracts kids from all over the world, really?
Well, it makes putting a Zoom call together pretty challenging.
Yeah,
the time differences. We got Kamal's 10 hours ahead of us in Kazakhstan, and the West Coast guys are 3 hours behind. So, but it's just kind of who we are. People ask me what's a typical Kenyon student look like. There isn't one. Like I said, you look at our Zoom call, all the guys, I mean, they physically look different, but their kind of mindsets are all a little bit different. But that's just kind of what the college is, it's what our demographic is, and we think it's what life is. As you look and see what's going on now in the world, the ability to get along with different people and see different sides. So, Kenyon, we've got conservative, we've got liberal, we've got Democrat, we've got Republican, we've got all different races, we've got all different faiths, and I just think it's really important with what's going on. I mean, always, but I guess in particular now. So, teaches guys to you have to listen to different people's views on things. You may not agree, may disagree, whatever, but ability to get along with other people. So, but Kenyon has a real national and international name. So, if I'm in an airport, doesn't matter, LA, Boston, New York, Orlando, Chicago, whatever, I got my Kenyon gear on. We can't walk through the airports. People know, they know who we are. They went there, they're a relative, they've heard of Kenyon. So that's just kind of the national name. I think it helps our guys getting out in the workforce. So no matter where they want to go, the Kenyon name, it carries a lot of weight nationally and internationally.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you got the paparazzi following you around at the airport. You're telling people.
Oh,
No,
yeah. Big time. Yeah.
Well, one thing that I'm kind of selfishly interested in as a basketball coach, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I've met a lot of people that have worked our camps, or people that I know in the basketball industry as coaches that have won either as a player or as a coach come through Kenyon. So if you have any names off the top of your head, can you rattle off a couple guys that are coaching now in college basketball or that have come through Kenyon?
Sure. Yeah, well, Shaka Smart is obviously the one that comes in, the head coach at Texas, and was at VCU. So Shaka's been we had him on our Zoom call a couple weeks ago. We talked to the guys. We've practiced at Texas. We practiced at VCU when he was there. Cooper Handelsman's another one who played for me, graduated 3 years ago. He's assistant coach at Brown now. Brian Leibowitz graduated 5 years ago. He's now the head coach at Franklin College. Just got that job. So we got guys all over. We also have, not just in coaching, but I think we have 5 guys that are working in pro sports right now. We have 2 in MLS, one with the Pittsburgh Pirates, one that does an analytics thing for the NBA, and then we have one that works for the Charlotte Hornets, is the analytics guy for the Hornets, was a math major at Kenyon, graduated 4 years ago, Alexander Powell. So it's kind of a testament to what all the different guys do. But yeah, we've got a bunch of them out there. Bill Comar is one who works at Indiana now, is also a alum. So we got a bunch of them.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I know, jobs are always really important, but I think it's really cool for the kids on this call to see, eventually the ball stops bouncing for all of us, but there's ways you can stay involved in not only basketball, but just sports in general after. And obviously the Kenyon pipeline and the alumni network is incredible for that. So
it's been great. Yeah. Like I said, we got 2 guys working for DC United. One for John Bray worked for the Pirates. Julian Pavlin's one's doing the kind of NBA analytics thing. And they're all, super smart guys, but they've been able to kind of follow their passion and follow what they learned in school. So, and again, I think the Kenyon name has helped them. It's been pretty cool to see, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. All right, cool. I'm going to toss it over to Scotty with a couple more questions for you, Coach.
Yep. Coach, nice seeing you. I feel like in a normal year to seen you 10 times by now.
Yes, more than my life.
So your roster, I was taking a look today. You have only 4 upperclassmen. Can you talk about the group you had this year and what it looks like moving forward?
Yeah, so we had actually a smaller roster a couple years ago. We've always tried to keep our roster like 15 or so, 16. We had a little bit smaller last year. That's why our 2 classes are a little bit our junior and senior classes are a little bit less in terms of number. So we graduated 3 good guys, but we do bring a lot back. We bring what we think is our best player back, Ugnis Linskas from Lithuania. So we do bring back pretty good core. We have a really good nucleus of freshmen that will be sophomores, rising sophomores. So depending on how, hopefully, I think they've worked at it here over the quarantine deal. So we do like that the group we have coming back. So we have kind of a mix of young and old, but we do have a lot of guys that play a lot of minutes.
What are some pieces you're looking for in the 2021 class? Any size, position, skill wise?
Yeah, so not necessarily position wise. We're going to try and recruit everything again. Again, the COVID thing makes things a little bit more interesting just in terms of what guys' actual rosters are going to look like this year. Our international kids honestly still trying to get back in the States in the fall, which is a challenge for them. I think they're going to be able to do it. So more than anything, we're just looking for guys that are going to be great teammates, guys that understand basketball. People, I say, what skill are you looking for? You guys mentioned like pass dribbles, what people talk about. Everyone says that, but we're trying to find guys who understand how to play a little bit and guys that can be really good teammates, guys that can handle adversity. It's going to happen to you a lot in life, so they can handle that. And guys that not just winning, but the pursuit of winning is obviously what we talk about more than the winning aspect, the pursuit of winning. So we're looking for everything. Guys that can shoot it are always a commodity. We got to get a point guard in this class too, but we'll try and get 4, 5, 6 guys of probably every position.
In a normal year, you're a stalwart at our camps and Ivy League camps. What do you look for at those camps? How do players stand out in a normal recruiting environment?
Yeah, it's hard because it's different than seeing them in a. That's why honestly, why I like your camps probably more. You've got officials and you got things like that, which makes a big difference. Sometimes you see summer games; they're not really games. It's just guys kind of playing open gym. So we look for guys that the winning and losing matters. Even though it's only going to be 4 or 5 games in a camp setting, it might not be a champion, but winning and losing matters. How they handle adversity, bad calls, shots not going in. How do they handle that kind of stuff? Those are things, you can see skill. You can see that in highlight tape or whatever. But those kind of intangible qualities are the things we look for the most. And guys that have fun playing, guys that love to play. That, in the end, it's what Division III basketball is all about. You got to love it. It's a battle of attrition a little bit if you're going to hang in there. So, guys that love playing, the pursuit of winning, the competitive spirit, and the ability to battle adversity.
This being like a non-traditional recruiting environment, how have you guys adjusted to being able to recruit players? What can players do to get on your radar?
Yeah, sure. So, everyone talks about reaching out. I think being specific when you reach out is one of the best things. And, we get, like all coaches, you get a lot of mass emails. I mean, we look at all of them, but those aren't, I don't think, going to catch people's eye. So, why are you interested in Kenyon, or why are you interested in X school, or what is specific? And honestly, we try and do the same thing in recruiting. We don't send guys mass emails. You get an email from us. It takes us a lot more time, but we type them individually. We talk about what things individually about that kid. We do the same thing with text. We're not sending mass text. We write a lot of personal letters. So I think it's the same way from the kid's perspective. Is why are you interested in X school? What is it about that school? What is it that appeals to you? And just kind of some specific individual things. And, the video obviously helps. So that part of reaching out is helping. And, we're doing Zoom calls and stuff with kids just to try and keep them informed. But I think one of the biggest things, kids not to really freak out too much, because everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's got the same limitations. And at the end of the day, they'll wind up at good places. It's a hard deal to navigate, but they'll wind up. But that's the biggest thing, specific information when reaching out and kind of being exact.
And be patient in this environment.
No, there's no question. Everyone's in the same boat, and same amount of kids are going to go to college. So we're going to take 5 or 6 guys, just like we did last year and the year before and next year. So it's hard, but you have to have a little bit of patience and optimism.
On the academic side, what does it take to get in?
So we are test optional this year. I don't know if we'll continue to do that, but we are this year. I think our mean SAT is, I think it's 1280 to 1410. So that's kind of our middle. I think our average ACT is usually 30. I think it's 30 and some change this past year. The GPA fluctuates a little bit given your course curriculum, number of APs, and we're usually 3.7 and above. Again, that depends a little bit on what the actual curriculum and what the academic rigor of the school is, or reputation of the school is.
Have they set early decision, regular decision deadlines yet?
We do. We ours is still in the same deal. So it's apply by November 15th, decision by early December, and then January 15th is our regular decision and our early decision too. So we get about half of our guys in early decision. May change a little bit this year because of the recruiting landscape and the inability or the harder to visit campuses, I guess. But that's what our dates will be.
I know I see you in the AAU setting in the camps. Do you recruit high school games too? Do you go to see recruits that play in the
try, but it's to get from Gambier to LA is sometimes challenging in the middle of the season. So even harder to get to Kazakhstan. So that we would love to, but it makes it challenging because it is a good setting. When we get the kids early decision, obviously they've decided before they played a game in the senior year. So honestly, your camp and a few of the others are better setting for us. We do a little bit of AU, but it's just not filtered academically for us. So the ones that are filtered for us, just because of where we are, because of our national ranking, is we have to be a bit more specific academically.
What are your main majors on campus? What do your guys usually study?
Yeah, so everything. We get a fair amount of econ guys, but we've got, I've got a kid that was sociology who's working on also a New York City guy now. We do get some law guys that go on to get their law degree. The best example I can give, I talked about the guy that worked for Charlotte Hornets. So Alexander was a math major and got into the analytics side. His brother, Carter Powell, played for me, just graduated this past year, was biology. He's actually an NCAA postgraduate scholarship winner, which is incredibly difficult to get. So he gets 10 grand for med school. So he was biology going to med school. So we get them all over the block. We do get a fair amount of econ guys, but we get probably just as much of the hard science and the social sciences too. And occasionally we get some English guys.
Well, can you tell us about your league and who you play?
Yeah, sure. So our league has 7 schools in Ohio, 2 in Indiana, and 1 in Pennsylvania. So just kind of example of our league, Wittenberg is in our league, who is the all-time winningest Division III basketball program in the country. So they'd be the Duke of Division III. Worcester is in our league, who has won more Division III basketball games since 1990 than anybody. And there's been years when we've had teams that have been better than them. So DePaul's in our league. DePaul and Wabash are 2 Indiana schools, are both really, really good. Ohio Wesleyan was nationally ranked. The National Player of the Year, named after Rod 3 years ago. So they've been awesome. Denison, Oberlin, kind of our 2 arch rivals, both great schools, are in our league. So we do have an advantage. We're in the center of our league. So in terms of travel and geographics and lack of missed class time, it does help. But it's in terms of men's basketball, it's really, really, really competitive.
Every year too.
Yeah, every year. Those guys are good every year, and so it's good. I mean, people always say, well, if you played in a different league, you'd win more games, but it's not really about that. It's about trying to play against the best teams you can and measure yourself against the best. So we say if you win 1 game in our league, you've done something good.
How's the campus support at those games too?
Yeah, so like we said, we talked about this Kenyon bubble. Our kids aren't going off to Columbus for social activity. It's all on campus. So that's kind of the unique thing that when we're going well, we really do get pretty good support because that's what they do. But it's the same. You can go to our soccer games. Like our guys all go to the soccer games. They go to the field hockey games, go to baseball games. It's just kind of what it is because everyone is all in the same place. And we do have some real strong traditions. Our swim team may quote me wrong here, but they've won more national championships than any school and any sport at any level. So I think our men have won 30, 35. Our women have won like 14. So, our men's soccer team is top 10 nationally. So we it's kind of cool to see that community support around campus.
That's awesome.
Coach, I mean, in the state of Ohio, there's a ton of options for kids. Division 1,
Sure.
2, 3, like there's so many options for kids. And the opposite for you there, I'm sure there's a lot of talented players out there. And it's similar in California, and especially Southern California. There's so many players, so many different high schools. Throughout the course of your time, whether it's at camps or high school games or whatever, we talk a little bit about what you do look for. What are some things that a player might do that you might say, I don't know if that's the type of kid for Kenyon? Is it something on the court? Is it something off the court? What is something that you as a coach kind of, maybe I don't know if this is the right fit for us?
Yeah. So I think there's probably a big difference between like enthusiasm and then, guys constantly talking to the officials. Not really something I'm interested in. Even if it's a camp setting, you can see if guys are, particularly if it's a high school coach, obviously there's be a little bit more there, but even in a camp setting, is he looking at the coach and is he really listening to what the coach is saying? Those kind of things. What's his effort level? Some camp games can get to, 60 to 30. Is the guy still really trying hard, and is he trying for his team to win in those settings? So, those are the things that we look for. We follow the social media like everybody. We're more interested when guys are posting stuff about their team than about themselves. I see guys posting that I don't mind seeing workout videos. Guys send it to us. I see guys posting things like they worked out today, and that's what you're supposed to do. That's like, you guys posting that you went to work. You're supposed to go to work. That's you're supposed to lift. You're supposed to run. You're supposed to hoop. You're supposed to, do ball handling drills. And, you can put that on Twitter and all that. That's fine. But that doesn't really catch my eye as much. So those are kind of some of the things that that turn us off a little bit. Guys that just, you look at guys and we always say, would you want to play with that guy? Or would you want to be his roommate on the road? Would you want to sit next to him on the bus? So those are the questions that I ask my assistants when they see guys.
No, those are definitely fair points.
Mm.
Now you played at Ohio Northern, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. You are the all-time leader in 3-point field goal percentage there. Is that still hold true?
I won't deny it. Yes, I am. Don't ask me how many attempts. I kept the attempts low enough that the
Okay.
percentage didn't get.
Uh, has
Yes.
any of that carried over into coaching? Do you guys like to shoot a lot of threes? Are you very selective with the types of shots that you do take?
Yeah.
How is that translated into your coaching style?
Well, it's funny. I kid that about the number of attempts, but I played for a guy named Gail Doherty, awesome coach. We had the 45-second shot clock then, so basketball was different. And Coach Doherty was a Bob Knight disciple, coach for Knight at Army, so incredibly disciplined, structured. We played in the 40s and 50s. So, like I said, I shot, I don't know, 49, 50%, whatever, but I only probably shot 75 of them just because it's kind of how we played. And, you could use the whole clock. So, to make that transition now when we had our good teams, when I first got here, we honestly didn't shoot many threes because we weren't very as good at it.
Mm.
But we've tried to transition now to shoot more, just how the game has gone, trying to get positionless players, multiple position guys that can shoot it. So that is our goal. That's kind of how we're trying to play now, and particularly now moving forward with the group of guys that we have. So that would be our goal, our strength, I hope.
Cool. And the last question I have for you, Coach, is, I grew up in Boston, but I went to school in the Midwest in Madison, Wisconsin. Yeah. And just from looking at your roster, obviously we talked about it already, but you have guys from all over the country and all over the world. Yeah. So what, for the players that are on this call, we have a lot of players on the West Coast, we have some kids on the East Coast and beyond. How much value do you put in maybe stepping out of your comfort zone, going to an area where maybe you don't know a lot of people, you're not familiar, because clearly you've done a great job recruiting kids. So how much emphasis do you put on that in your college experience?
Certainly a ton. And I talked about AP Powell and Carter Powell. So they're guys that came from the deep South in South Carolina, came up, very different environment. We get a lot of East Coast kids, and challenging for them at first. But I think they would tell you it's probably the best thing that happened. They saw a different way of life. And again, I just think that's how life is now, and you don't know where life's going to land you. You don't know you're going to land up on the West Coast. I took a job in, like I said, in Conway, Arkansas. Very, very different for me. Me and my wife, both Ohio natives, that wound up down there, and we had to adjust to kind of different way of life, different way of thinking, politically, socially, religiously, those kind of things. But I think that's what life is all about. So we tell guys, you don't know where you're going to end up. You don't know who's going to be working in the cubicle next to you. And we have a world now that people need to know how to get along with other people, but they need to learn how to listen to other people. And that's kind of what Kenyon teaches you, that you may be on one side of the spectrum, but to be able to listen and learn and respect other people's opinions is a quality we really need. And it's enlightened now, but we've needed it forever. So we always say you can be who you want at Kenyon. You want to be liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat. You want to take up a social justice type of platform. You can do it, and people, you can be whoever you want. And I think it's a pretty good life lesson. And I think it helps us in basketball. Basketball is the ultimate team sport. You have to learn to play with other people. It is really, I think, the ultimate team sport. So I think those things that it teaches our guys. I think that's why our guys are successful. They learn a lot in the classroom, but I think they would tell you those experience of relationships and kind of meshing with other people, I think probably leads to their success more than anything.
Yeah. And I mean, it's amazing. Like if you said I was on a basketball team with a kid from Kazakhstan, like, and now you have a buddy that's there, or a different part of the country. Like it just like you said, it creates a new perspective. And
it does. And to see what those guys go through, but it's just different. The guys ask Kamal, where's Kazakhstan? He tells them it's whatever, and they say, where's that? But just even talking through how they're going through the COVID thing, how their healthcare systems are and those kind of things. It's a really valuable experience. I think it brings our team closer together.
Definitely, yeah, no question. Well, we got about a minute or so here left. So before we kind of wrap it up for the evening, Coach, is there anything else you wanted to talk about or touch on that we didn't get a chance to mention?
No, I mean, give you guys a little plug. Guys that are out there listening, West Coast Elite things are great. Like I said, they do them right, and it's a good environment for us to evaluate because they spend the money, hire officials, real guys coach them. So that part is good. So I just tell kids it's a strange time, unprecedented times, but we'll all get through it. And you'll determine who you are when you come out of this. So we tell our guys, you'll be the kind of person you want to be when you come out of it. You can determine that. As a basketball player, you determine you're going to be in shape, you're not going to be in shape. You're going to work out, you're not going to work out. So you'll determine what kind of person, what kind of player you are when you come out of this. And eventually we will. So keep that in mind. Hope some people reach out to us. We talk about the Kenyon basketball family, and we say family is a really strong word. So people that have strong families know that's coaches throw that around a lot. We're family, we're family. And I don't know if they all are, but we talk about it a lot. It's hard to actually be a family, but that's kind of what we're all about. So I appreciate it. And I was ready for Scotty's rapid fire questions. No, the rapid fire's not coming.
Scotty, you got a rapid fire for him?
No, he's on top of it.
Oh, I tell you, you're gonna ask me who was I gonna take, MJ or LeBron?
Oh no, that's Matt.
Well, go. Give us what you got, Coach.
I was gonna say you said MJ or LeBron or other. I'm saying the other. Ugas Zelinskas, that's who I'm taking. That's my guy. That's our player.
In LA, we say Kawhi Leonard too for some of the population.
Well, I'm taking Ugi, but other than those guys, either one of those guys, I'll be okay with. So I appreciate what you're doing, guys. I hope I can see you. We hope that stuff in Phoenix gets a little bit better because I'd love to come out. So we'll hope Kenyon lets me go.
Yeah, same here, Coach. We miss not seeing you out on the road, but again, we hope that we get a chance to see you. Hope you're staying safe there, doing well, and if we can do anything, let us know. But otherwise, again, for anybody that's on this call, if you have any more questions for Coach, please feel free to reach out to him. His email is below in the chat, or you can check it out online. But love seeing you. Glad to see you're doing well, and appreciate you spending some time with us tonight.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
All right. See you, Coach.
See you. Good.
What's up? Welcome.
First thing I'll say is MJ all the way. Done.
Good. We'll get the easy ones out of the way first.
Next question.
Well, we'd love to introduce our third and final speaker of the evening, someone who's near and dear to our hearts here at West Coast Elite, Coach Russell White. So, Coach, welcome. Appreciate you joining us tonight.
Excited to finally get the call. I'm ready to go. Been working on this for a while.
Is this virtual background, or are you feet down on the hardwood?
I am in the. This is actually our practice gym. So about halfway through, I'm going to roll you into the main gym, and this is probably the second time I've been in the gym since March. So
oh my gosh!
Permission.
The VIP tour.
Had to submit in triplicate like 2 weeks ago, and I just got approval today. So, but we're ready to go. We're here. Let's do it.
Well, we appreciate you spending some time with us, Coach. Please, for the some people here on the West Coast might be familiar with you, but for people that aren't, give us a little bit about your background and kind of what brought you to Cal Lu.
Well, I'm an alum. I heard Coach Thompson earlier, and it's definitely something special to coach at your alma mater. I was not as a successful player as Coach Thompson was, but I did play basketball here for 3 years, and our program was at the time the head coach was Mike Dunlap, who's had been a head coach in the NBA and head coach at Division I, Division II, won national championships. Incredible coach, and I really just sat on the end of the bench for 3 years and watched him build a program and decided this is what I wanted to do. So for 25 years, I coached high school. I graduated from Cal Lu in '94, and until last summer, I was coaching high school. 20 years of a varsity coach at 3 different schools. I spent 5 years right out of college as a lower level coach, like most guys do, and I was lucky enough to get a call last summer when the coach here left, and here I am. And really it's actually in my little PowerPoint that I'm going to tell you, but I plan on being here the rest of my life. This is home for me. So that's how I got here.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, go ahead if you want to Share the PowerPoint if it's ready. Yeah, let's fire it up.
Hopefully this works. Is that on there?
Yep. Yeah, we see it.
Oh, great. While we're doing this, I might multitask and get into the main gym. But Cal Lutheran University, we're basically in Los Angeles. I know a lot of guys on this call are from the LA or West Coast area, but we're not in the city. We're about 50 minutes north up the coast. We're about 30 minutes from Malibu, 50 minutes from downtown LA, an hour and 10 from Disneyland. We're 50 minutes from Santa Barbara. Beaches are close. Skiing's close if you're into that. Great. We're actually one of the 5 safest cities in the country for a city our size. It is a suburb, but you're close enough to get to anything you want. I'm the head coach. We got 2 assistant coaches. I'll introduce them right here. I'll get through this quick. This is way too much bio on me. But important parts there are just my process. I'm all about growing and getting better. I say that to my players. I say that to my staff. I've come a long way from being a head coach at Calabasas in 1999 was my first year. I was a 27-year-old coach in high school basketball as a varsity coach and thought I knew everything. And now I'm 48 coaching college and not sure I know anything. As you grow and you get older, you just understand, you know what you don't know. You realize you don't know as much as you thought. And so Chris Solney is one of our assistants. He's actually a West Coast elite coach. He played at Widener for 3 years, a D3 school in Philly. And he's going to be a star in this business. I got a lot of confidence in him. I'm happy he's coming back for a second year. He won't be with us long because he's that good. And then we brought on a new coach this year, Randy Serrano. Has been a high school coach in California for a number of years. Went to Cal Poly, and this is his first year here. And actually, if I may, he's the one that did all the heavy lifting on the PowerPoint in terms of design and cool features. So here's the key components of our school in terms of the academics and financial. Last year, our freshman class, 3.7, 1170, ACT 27. Could get in with lower. You're definitely going to do – we got guys that are 1,500 SAT, 1,400 SAT. And I would tell anyone that's listening, whether you're coming to Calu, Kenyon, Hobart, wherever you want to go, the better grade for you. When you're talking about a Division III school, you're talking about an Ivy League school, a Patriot League school, the better grades and the better scores, the more money the school is going to throw at you. It's facts. Go get your scores up. Take care of your business in the classroom. It will help you down the road. It'll give you more financial opportunity, 100%. So we actually have 42 majors here at Calu. I have a link here. I'm not going to click on it. I'll save us the time so we can get to some questions. But we have a great business program. In fact, we're opening up a sports management major this year.
Awesome.
A lot of our incoming freshmen this year are planning on majoring in sports management. Education, that's what I basically majored in. I knew I wanted to be a teacher and a coach. I majored in social science and became a teacher. We are a liberal arts school at heart. And then our sciences have really grown. We're opening up, I'll show you pictures later in this PowerPoint, but we're opening up a $40 million science center in 2 months when school opens up in September. So our sciences are super strong. As far as financial aid goes, we do early action. We got to apply by November 1. And if you apply by November 1, and we're obviously encouraging all of our recruits for 2021 to do this, but if you apply by November 1, you're eligible for our best scholarships. You wouldn't get those until February or so, but we do have full tuition scholarships that are available to kids that apply early. I wouldn't say we have lots of them, but there are some out there, and the better grades and the better scores, the more opportunity you're going to get. All of our aid is Division III based on academic and financial need. The average financial aid for a freshman this past year was $37,500. Room and board and tuition at Calu is about $58,000. So standard there. And then we've got lots of things. I didn't write it on here, but we actually offer a program where you can get your MBA in 5 years. If you come to Calu as a freshman and you get in the right track, you can have an MBA within 5. We have a public price promise. If you are accepted to one of the top UC schools, our school will let you come to Calu for the same cost as going to a UC as far as tuition goes. So there's a lot of benefits there. again, if you handle your business in the classroom, it helps a ton. We put together just a brief alumni list. Palmer Chaplin was one of our only senior last year. He's already been hired by Amazon. He starts, actually, I just talked to him a couple of days ago. He starts work in about a month in San Francisco. Kalu has long been an education slash coaching school. Obviously, I went to school here, but football has been a power here as far as coaching goes. Tom Herman, who's the head coach at University of Texas, he's a Kalu grad. Dave Aranda, Baylor University, just hired past spring, Kalu grad. They actually were on the same team 1 year together here. But then, again, I mentioned science. Lauren Spinnis-Hill is Chief Operating Officer at Columbia Medical Center in New York. And then business. If you're from SoCal, you've probably eaten at the Urbane Cafe at some point. The CEO and founder is a Kalu guy, Joe Fuca, who actually is a club coach guy up in NorCal with the Lake Show. He's the CEO of Reputation.com. And then I got to mention this: we're in SoCal, fellas. The Moset wine was Miss Universe and graduated from Kalu in 2013. So the eye candy's solid most of the time when you walk around campus. I gotta put it out there. It's a fact. So
head coach.
Yeah. I'm gonna roll this in while I talk here. I'm gonna roll this into the other gym. Back her up. Now we have most of the buildings. I want to emphasize this. Most of the buildings are new since I went to school here. I graduated in '94. First time I stepped on campus was 30 years ago, which is crazy to think about. But about half the buildings are brand new, including the dining commons, state of the art. Here you've got an aerial view. This is our team last year looking out over campus. Our campus this is the bridge on the left. That's the bridge that separates the north and south campus. And this is the brand new science center that's going to open up in 2 months. It'll connect to, once we renovate the old one, they'll connect. The building on the left is also brand new since I've been here. This is our weight room. The LA Rams actually train on our campus during the season, and this weight room overlooks their facility. And every once in a while, the Rams will show up on our campus because it's windy or smoky outside, occasional fall, forest fires, something like that, and they come over and use our facilities. Got this set up. Our Trinity Hall is our newest dorm, and this is state of the art as well. It's apartment style, so you have. Here we go. So Trinity Hall is apartment style. You have 4 kids in a room. They all have their own room, full kitchen, large bathroom. As I turn around and give you the look of our arena behind.
Nice little change of scenery there, Coach.
We got it working over here. I get you gave me an hour to mess with this while listening to the conference. Coach Priest, I was able to adapt and overcome and make things better. So we got Trinity Hall, and then in conclusion, and obviously we got some time to answer some questions, but what I would tell you about our program is we're growing. We're going to be successful in some capacity. I don't know if it's going to be next year, 2 years, 3 years, but we're going to get better. This is a growing program. There's opportunity to come play. We have top-notch facilities. 3,000-seat football stadium. Right now we're in a 1,500-seat arena. Across the hall where I was 10 seconds ago is a rec center, weight room. We got Olympic-sized pool. The U.S. water polo team has trained in our pool for Olympics in past years. Our baseball stadium is named after former manager Sparky Anderson, has former seats from Dodger Stadium were brought over. It's a 500-seat baseball stadium, and our baseball team won the national championship 3 years ago. They were number 1 in the nation this year when the season was unfortunately abruptly concluded in March. So facilities are really, really good. You got high-level academics here with lifetime career services. I know Coach Thompson mentioned this at Hobart, and goodbye him. We have the same thing. It's a lifetime career services. We offer 2 or 3 gigantic job fairs every year for not only the kids that are graduating, but young men and women that have graduated a few years prior. And then even me as an alum, I graduated in '94. If I was looking for a job, which hopefully won't be anytime soon, I could come to these career service job fairs and I can go into their office and they'll help me work on my interview, work on my resume, whatever it is. Those are lifetime career services. And then I think the thing that's ultimately going to make a difference for us, in my opinion, is how our staff cares about our players. And really, we're going to work really hard to be successful. It's all we know. But when it comes down to it, it's about way more than winning. And I would share with you this, and then I'll close this scene. But I have 2 goals for our program here at Calu. Number one, I want to make the alums proud of our program. And as an alum, obviously it's great when you win, and we will win more than we did last year as time goes by. But how you play, how you act, what you do, how you carry yourself, what you do after school, after you graduate, those things matter a lot. So make our alums proud. And the second goal is to make sure our players have a great experience. And I did go to school here. I love my time here. This is a pivotal 4 years of my life, 5 years if you include my teaching credential. I played 6 games in 3 years. I scored 15 points total, and I wouldn't change it for the world. This was what I got here with the coaching staff, with the guys that I played with, the guys that I watched play, the guys that I practiced with and conditioned with and ran the hill and ran gassers. Those guys are still my brothers today, and they come back and watch the games, and they want to know how things are going. So I want to make sure my players have a great experience while they go to school here. So that's my little brief PowerPoint. Now we're in the gym. We're in the big gym. We're going to fill this place up soon.
Well, appreciate you sharing that that PowerPoint with us. A lot of information in that. So break it down a little bit more. I'm going to toss it over to Scott with some more questions for you, Coach.
Coach, I have my shirt ready. We're ready to make it happen. We got Ryan Silver on the call too. This is a big moment for us.
All right, my guy Ryan.
So first off, for the testing, are you guys going test optional? Is there any word on that?
Yeah, we're test optional next year. No word on exactly how that's going to impact admissions or financial aid. I would imagine if you have a great score, it'll help you get some financial aid and help you get in. But we are going to be test optional. And
that's just for the year, right?
I got a feeling it's going to be long term. I know they were talking about that before it even became trendy. We're actually our school this year is going to give AP credit to AP students that didn't even take the test. So we're being pretty progressive with that type of stuff. We're trying to be forward thinking, not only in the admissions department, but also in our basketball program. Like I mentioned earlier, always trying to get better, figure out ways to differentiate yourself and ways to get better.
You came in and you hit the ground running. Can you tell us what the class you brought in and what you're excited about?
We brought in, we're still working on a couple guys. We're going to have a 20-man roster next year. 6 guys coming back. We're got 12 commits right now, 1 transfer. Most of the guys we brought in are shooters. We did not shoot the ball well last year. We did not score the ball well last year. So recruiting-wise, we spent a lot of time looking for guys that could put the ball in the hole and just play. And then I've alluded to Coach Thompson a couple times from Hobart, but we're going to run an offense predicated on the skill set that our players have. Last year, we had a big guy in the middle, and we had some players around him, and we played slow ball, and we tried to get it into him, and another guy that we had that we could post up, and we tried to defend, and it worked a couple times, but not a ton. Now we've got some more shooters on the court. We'll spread the court out. I want to play more guys this year in terms of I think we can play 10, 12 guys pretty easily. It's a 40-minute game at the college level as opposed to 32 in high school. So excited about the class because we got better players. How committed are they? And that's another thing if I could just message out to all of the young men that are on this call, and even and ladies, if possible, if you're talking about playing Division III, at this level, you have to really love the game, because I did coach high school for 25 years. We had fall ball. We had regular season. We actually skipped spring ball in my program, but then we had summer ball, and then you played AAU. And there is no summer, fall, spring ball at Division III level. It doesn't matter if you go to Hobart or Kenyon or Calu or wherever. There's no summer ball. There's no fall ball. There's no spring ball. You have to work on your game because you want to work on your game. No one's dragging you into the gym and say, hey, you got to be here if you want to play. So you have to have a passion for the game. And I think that's one thing that we took a big step up with our recruiting class, is getting guys that understand that that's what we want, and getting guys that want to do that. And I hope it comes to fruition. You never know. I mean, obviously, we've all been to college. it can change us for sure. It can definitely change us. So we'll see how it plays out, but we're definitely excited about the class we got coming in. And again, we're actually trying to get 2 more guys. I think we're close to getting them, and then that'll put us about a 20-man roster for next year.
I love you. You did a great job recruiting SoCal, big time. So much talent here.
I agree. And I think, I appreciate that, Scott, but I think we missed out on some guys. But at this level, I was told this earlier, our success rate is going to be pretty low. So we've got to spread a big blanket and cover as much as we can and see where pieces fall. And that's another message I would tell guys. And I think you asked this you asked the other coaches this, stay with it, stay with the coaches, be the squeaky wheel gets the grease, if I may, in terms of, if you're interested in a school, make sure you're letting that coach know. At our level, there's so many components of getting someone to be a part of the program. You've got to be admitted. You've got to get a good financial package. Do you fit the program? And we started recruiting for 2021, but we're not offering. We haven't made any offers. The only thing I can offer right now is a spot on the team, and I need to know you better if I'm going to offer you a spot on this team. I want to see you play. I want to see you practice. I want to see how you act. I want to talk to your coach. I want to talk to your rival, the coach of your rival's team. I want to see what he has to say about you. And I want to see what your AAU coach has to say about you. Just because you're 6'8" or 6'5" and can shoot it from deep, doesn't mean I want to offer you a spot. It's really important we get the right guys and the right players, as opposed to just someone that can shoot it or someone that can dunk it or someone that can make a turnaround jumper every time. So I appreciate it. We're going to keep doing it, man. We're going to keep doing it.
Can you talk about your conference that you're playing in for those who aren't from SoCal on this call?
Well, we're in the SCIAC, Southern California Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. Our school's been in the league for 30 years. In fact, my first 3 years my last 3 years at Calu, 92, 93, and 94, we actually won the league. And those were our first three years in the league. We've won 3 titles since, so we're going to try and build on that. But it's actually one of the oldest conferences in the country. It was first founded in 1908, I believe, maybe early 1910s. Early in the 1910s, UCLA was a member. UC Santa Barbara was a member. Those types of things. But it's obviously it's a great conference. It's your farthest ride is 2 hours away for us. We're kind of out, if you remember the map from the PowerPoint, we're a little bit out northwest of LA. A lot of schools are kind of northeast, but farthest school is a 2-hour drive. But it's a really good league. Last year we were, I think, 14th ranked league out of 43 in the league in the country for Division III, and it's going to get better with the new additions to our league and the commitment that some of these coaches are making. Our league is going to be a power moving forward, and it's a cerebral league, as you might expect for Division III.
I know some schools in the league have the varsity, as you can say, and JV team. Are you doing multiple levels at Cal Lutheran or just one team?
Good question, Scott. We had a JV team last year, and I nixed it. And I did that. Go back to what I said when I ended my PowerPoint in terms of what's important to me. What's important to me is that our players have a great experience. And what I found last year was that the 10, 11 guys that were on JV, they didn't get the same experience that the guys on the varsity did in terms of travel, in terms of gear, in terms of opportunity to play in front of crowds. And so it wasn't a great experience, so I cut it, and now that's why we're going to have a larger roster. We're going to have a 20-man roster, maybe 19, maybe 21, but we will play a developmental schedule, if you will. We'll have 10 to 12 extra games. We'll play JCs, we'll play NAIA teams. They'll have developmental teams, so everyone will play. And that's another thing I would say. There's no red shirt at Division III, and that's kind of I don't know if that's talked about a lot, but there's no red shirt at Division III. If you practice all year and never play, that's a year of eligibility. It's done. You're not getting that back because you didn't play. So we're going to have that developmental squad. It's not like JV in high school where you play JV all year. It might be a situation where a guy's coming back from an injury and needs a game. It might be a situation where, hey, this guy only played 3 minutes in the last game and we need to get him some run. Let's get him out here. So everyone's going to get plenty of playing time as we move forward, assuming everything goes well with the schedule. But no JV, developmental schedule. Everyone practices together. Everyone travels together. We're a squad.
I love it.
Coach, you had a lot of success in your time as a high school head coach. And can you talk just a little bit about, like, what are some things that you learned coaching young people that you've kind of brought with you? Obviously, the game's a little bit different. The kids are a different age, different stage. But what are some lessons that you learned in your years as a high school coach that you've brought with you now to coach college?
I think the best way I can answer that is I actually alluded to this earlier. You know, when I was 27, I was a head coach and thought I knew everything. And now I realize that I still have lots to learn, and I'm 48. And I've been doing it for a long time. I think I'm really trying to get better and better every year at making sure my players know that I want them to be successful on and off the court. And if you've ever seen me coach, it doesn't always come off that way. I'm incredibly intense, competitive. There's not so much in the college game, at least last year, but when I was coaching at Crespi, there were many times when the game was over, I was sweating as much as the players. My steps in a game were, I'd get 5,000, 6,000 steps in a game because I just work on the sideline and all over the place. But my fieriness, I don't know if that's quite the word I want to use, but my competitiveness, my intensity, sometimes is hard for players to manage. I really got to a point at Crespi where I thought my players really appreciated that because I was able to spend time with them outside of the classroom, outside of the gym, in between classes, lunchtime, football games. We did all this stuff together because we were close. Well, here at college, my office is in the top far corner of the gym. No one's popping by my office. It's out of the way. So I have to, one of the things I've learned in the last years, I need to do a better job of going and finding my players and making sure we have dialogue. We have conversation about, their business class, or how grandma's doing, or what's going on with their girlfriend, or, hey, what's going on over spring break? What do you want to do? Where do you want to intern next year? I got to do a better job of that next year, and I will. I've already started. I call all our players once a week, just check in with them in the summer, and I don't know if that's normal or not. Doesn't matter, but it's something that I want to do. We're Zooming once every, for a while it was once a week. Now we're about once every 2 weeks, but I really have to, if I would say one thing that I've learned is continue to work to develop trust with my players. So it's not just about what you do on this court right here.
That beautiful court right there.
What we do. Thank you. I did not get to play on this court. Is again one of the newer buildings. We played in a dump across the street, but nonetheless, different story.
One thing. Sorry. Continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I talked too long anyway. Next question. Develop trust with players. Boom. There it is.
One thing that I thought was really interesting, and I know myself and Scotty were both assistant coaches at the high school level, but this is our 10th week of Tuesday night talks, and very rarely, I can't think of too many coaches that have spent time to introduce their assistant coaches. And so talk a little bit about, like, how important is the staff to you? Like, obviously your staff are the guys that are out on the road just as much as you are. They're the ones that are as involved in practice as you are. So how important for you has it been to build a great staff? And, what is the relationship between your staff and your players, and how does that help kind of, make some success with the program that you're trying to build?
Well, you're only as good as your players and your assistant coaches. I mean, I got a lot of credit because we won a lot of games at Crespi, and I appreciate the nice Twitter thing you guys did in terms of the success we had there. But we had a great staff, we had great players, and those guys worked to make me look good. Obviously, I'm the leader, I'm the guy in front of it all. But Chris has worked his tail off. I'll be indebted to him forever. Like I said, I think he'll probably move on to bigger and better things in the next year or so. But for me, he'll always be a Kingsman. He's worked really, really hard. I'm trying to help him grow, but that relationship is huge. Randy's just come on this summer and has done a lot of work behind the scenes. I know he's excited to get going. Our assistant last year, another one of our assistants last year, Dane Swanson, he moved back up to Portland, but I know he's going to be with us. I think the impact we make with our staff is how they feel about your program when they leave. And I hope that I will continue to build a relationship and a culture within our program that allows the guys to leave in a in a happy way. Hey, that was a great time for me. I'm ready to move on. Not, I got to get the heck out of here. And I know, and that's one of the reasons why I don't want this to be all about winning. When it's all about winning, there's a lot of pressure there. And when you don't win, everyone's unhappy. And it's hard enough to do this job when you're not winning. But if you're not enjoying who you do it with, it's even worse. And I think the same goes with players. We have to have relationship with players that are more meaningful than just what we can do. Can you put the ball in the hole? Can you run the floor? Can you dunk? Can you dribble? Can you pass? Do I want to hang out with you? I live a mile from Kalu. I can walk over here anytime I want. Do I want to invite these kids over to my house? I have a 14-year-old son, an 8-year-old son, and a wife we've been married for 20 years this summer. Do I want to invite those players over there? And the fact of the matter is, that's how it is. These guys are my family. This is my extended family. And I hope they know I feel that way. I try and let them know all the time. I think the only time it's really hard for them to understand that is when I'm coaching them hard. And you guys know me pretty well. I coach our players hard. And I do that because the best teachers and coaches I ever had were ones that pushed me past where I thought I could go. Coach Dunlap, again, I wasn't very good, but he pushed me to a point where I actually got decent, and then, my English teacher in high school kicked our tail and I hated it. And then when I got away from it, I was like, wow, that was awesome. And there's value in that as long as they know you care about them as well. So again, a long answer to a great question, but developing that family atmosphere where they know I care about them besides just what you can do for me. We haven't necessarily used this term here, but I love the term servant leader. And that's how I want to approach this. I want to do whatever I can for these coaches to get better and grow, and our players to get better and grow. When I was in high school, I was helping them find a place to play college ball and be ready to go to college. Now I need to help these guys find jobs when they graduate, find a place they're comfortable with in terms of connections and contacts, and help them with resumes and interviews, whatever those things I can do to help them. And now they want to come back and be a part of this thing like I did. For 30 years, 25 years, I came back to Kalu because what it did for me. Now I get to work here, and hopefully I can build that same thing with the players and coaches we have now.
Definitely. Well, I know, putting yourself back a couple years back in your high school coaching shoes, if you were still coaching high school right now during this current climate, what sort of advice would you be giving for your players? For example, the players that are on this call, what advice would you give for them during this difficult time with recruiting and just everything else that's been going on, to help them get through to navigate this process? Now you're on the other side trying to bring them to Kalu.
Well, man, I think number one, I would say stay off social media as much as possible and stop comparing yourself to others, and just get to work. I do have a 14-year-old son, and he's not necessarily on social media yet, but he has a workout routine that he has set up that he does every day. So I would tell you players, get a routine. What do you want to get better at? Go get better at it. You got every day to go do this. Do you need to get in shape? Then run. Do you need to get stronger? And you don't have a weight room? Then do push-ups, do planks, do sit-ups, do whatever. Do what you can. Get on YouTube and find activities that you can do. You need to be a better shooter. Find a basket and shoot. You don't have a basket, then work on your ball handling. Find a way to get better. Don't make excuses. Just find a way to get better. And then I would tell you, don't continue to be aggressive with your communication with coaches that your schools that you're super interested in. I think Coach Priest mentioned, the mass emails. The mass emails don't get a ton of responses from me, but if you, Coach White, my name's so-and-so, and I go to this high school, and I knew you coached at Crespi, or whatever it is, there's some personal thing in there, you're going to get a response from our staff, for sure, 100%. If it's personal in some way, we'll get back to you. It may not be the next day. Sometimes I wait a week and answer all 50 at the same time, but we're going to get back to you if it's personal. If it's just a mass email, you're probably not going to get much back. And figure out where you want to go, figure out what you want to do. Find those schools that you're passionate about for one reason or another, and reach out to them and be consistent. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I sent you an email last week. I know you didn't respond, but I'm coming back again. I'm really interested in your school. Would love to have a conversation. Please give me a call. I can call you if you want. I mean, just keep coming. Just keep coming. If that's what you want to do, keep going. So work on what you need to work on, and be a gnat, if you will. Be relentless. One of my favorite words is relentless. Be relentless with your dream to play college basketball. It's hard. And I know it's probably been said at different times during your 10 weeks here, but Division III basketball is not rinky dink park ball. I mean, there's some dudes that can go. They can dunk, they can run, they can shoot, and the coaches are good. And you got to be good to play at this level. You have to be good. And just because you did X, Y, and Z for your high school, whether it's a big school or a small school, you have to be good and keep working on it. Don't give up on the dream. Certainly not now. I think there'll be a season at some point, whether it's after the new year or whatever it is, there'll be a season. There'll be an opportunity for coaches to watch you. Make sure you're getting better. Again, another long answer. I give verbose sometimes.
No, those are great. It's great. We appreciate it, Coach. We have a couple more minutes here. And first of all, I mean, have to say you've done, like Scotty mentioned, you've done a phenomenal job recruiting the West Coast, specifically West Coast Elite. You have quite a few players coming in that have played in our organization all over the place. And, I've seen you in several gyms before. I know, you normally, if we were in camps right now, you'd be working our camps and all that stuff, and your staff has been amazing. So we appreciate that first and foremost, and appreciate you spending some time with us tonight. And again, if people still have more questions for you, definitely his Coach White's email is down in the chat. It's on the website. You guys can please feel free to reach out. But, to wrap things up here, is there anything else you wanted to talk about or anything we didn't get a chance to touch on that you wanted to speak about briefly before we end things for the evening?
I don't think there's anything specific. I mean, I could talk for days. I really could. My passion for this school and this sport and working here will consistently exude itself if you have conversation with me, whether we're in the gym at Windward, or we're in the gym down in Orange County, or we're in the gym in Phoenix in a month, or Vegas in 2 months, or whatever it is. Be passionate about what you do. I found a job that I don't have to work really. This is something I love doing. I love coaching basketball. I love working for my alma mater, and I'm just going to keep finding a way to get better at it. So if you're passionate about something, go get it and chase it. And I know West Coast Elite guys will work incredibly hard for you. You have to work hard for them. They're not just going to put it out on plate for you, and I think a lot of guys will do that. A lot of coaches will do that for you. They should. If they don't, go find a new coach. I know that sounds crazy, but if they're not working for you, that's what they're doing this for. Our job as coaches is to serve our players, bottom line. Help them get better, help them grow, and we'll take it from there. So, again, I could talk for days, but I appreciate the opportunity to get on here and talk about our program, my school, my alma mater. I could do this every Tuesday if you want.
we might have to bring you back, Coach.
I got more stuff. I really could talk for absolute days. So if there's any more questions, I'm happy to take them. Yeah, whatever you guys want. I appreciate, very, very appreciative to you and Ryan for having me on here. I don't know if you alluded to this, but I coached for West Coast Elite 4 or 5 years ago. Those guys are now juniors and seniors in college, doing well. It always gave me an opportunity to coach some really, really special players, and I look forward to continue to support your program. I know you guys will support us when it's appropriate, and that's all I can ask. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, no, we love having you on. Again, you've been extremely supportive of us. You've been instrumental in us building up our brand and our program, and we know continue to do that. And I would just urge all the players that are here on this call, whether you're from the West Coast or off the West Coast, finding an opportunity to work with a college coach who's had such a great experience working at the high school level, really it shows that you care. It shows how passionate you are about the kids. And I think getting to play for somebody with that approach to the game of basketball is extremely unique. And so I would definitely encourage anyone that's on this call, if you do have a chance to connect with Coach White, whether it's on the phone or in person or whatever, to do that. And we really appreciate you for spending some time with us tonight. we definitely hope to see you in the gym again soon. Looks like, you got a beautiful one there behind you, and we hope to see you sometime during the season. But please stay safe. Be well, Coach. Thanks for your time tonight, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
You'll definitely see us in a gym, no doubt.
Love it.
As soon as they're open. And we'll have you here too. Really appreciate it, guys. Have a great week.
You got it, Coach. Take care.